significant revenue. He brings invaluable insight into the early stage of entrepreneur and securing crucial investment. I would like you all to welcome Mr. Assis Harsan. Next, we have Ms. Lisa Habashne. She is the Acting Director of Investment and Entrepreneurship in the Planning and Managing Planning in the Digital Economy and Entrepreneurship Ministry in Jordan. Ms. Lisa's expertise lies in planning and managing national initiatives related to government support for the ICT and entrepreneurship sector. Her deep understanding of investment dynamic and funding opportunities will provide valuable perspective on investment phase of entrepreneurial journey. I would like you all to welcome her on the stage. And next we have Mr. Farhan Bradusi, whom without we would not be able to be here sitting down and having this panel discussion. I would like you all to welcome him, as he is the organizer of HITEX and co-founder of Lucid Source. Thank you so much for being here, Mr. Farhan. Mr. Farhan's experience as an entrepreneur positioned him well to shed light on the strategies employed by the tech entrepreneur in Iraq to secure investment and move their ideas forward. He wants all the entrepreneurs to be brave enough to be able to move their ideas from just having an idea to bring their ideas into reality. So thank you so much for being here. Okay, so before we start our panel discussion, I just want to I would like to welcome all of our panelists. Welcome Mr. Assis from Netherlands, and I would like also to welcome Ms. Lisa from Jordan. Before we dive into our insightful conversation, I want to start by asking our panelists to share one word that represent our philosophy on entrepreneurship. So I would first like to start with Mr. Assis. What is your philosophy on entrepreneurship?
Doesn't work, I think.
It does work.
It does work. Yeah, so the first word that comes onto mind for me is effort. Because there are a lot of things you cannot control. The weather you cannot control. If a pandemic happens, you cannot control. But one thing that you always can control is your own effort. And I think that if you do what you can, where you are with what you have, you will always find a door that opens. And this has been very significant for me personally, and something I've witnessed with successful entrepreneurs over the years, that they take full 100% responsibility and put all the effort they can to build whatever they want to build.
Thank you so much for your insights. Now, Ms. Lisa, what is your philosophy on entrepreneurship?
First of all, thank you so much for this opportunity. For me, it's all about, as I said, communication, collaboration, and having the right partnership and connecting the dots between all the stakeholders of the ecosystem and building on the expertise and leveraging the expertise and the entrepreneurship ecosystem so that we can really create a greater impact.
Thank you so much for your insight. Mr. Farhan, what is your philosophy?
Consistency, and consistency. Only that.
Thank you so much for your valuable insights. Now I want to kick off our discussion, and I want to start, in the inception of groundbreaking idea. So first, I want to start with Mr. Assis Harsan. Mr. Assis, could you elaborate on your approach to identifying and supporting businesses that have a positive impact on the environment? What criteria do you consider when evaluating the environmental sustainability of a business idea?
Yeah, so when it comes down to the environmental sustainability of the idea, first of all, we look at the idea itself, right?
Yeah.
Is the viable idea? And the challenge is that sometimes people think they need to create the idea themselves. But when we used to go to school, at school, when you copy the homework of somebody else, you get punished, right? But as a business person, if you copy something that already works in a different market, we call it research. So the first step is to research a great idea. Once you find a great idea, the second step actually is really finding a way to make a business case from that idea in your local market. And it could be very, very small. From that point on, after that you find a way to have a user case in your local market. Now it's time to build a team. And I think one of the most valuable things that we have in this specific region is we have a lot of ambitious people who are excited about building something and being part of something that could significantly impact the local market.
Thank you so much for your valuable insight. Now I want to ask a question to Mr. Farhang, and I want to turn our attention to shaping the future of technology. So, Mr. Farhang, as someone who emphasized the importance of bringing together leaders and experts from different industries, how do you believe this collaboration can shape the future of technology in Iraq and beyond?
Thanks, Fatma. Thanks for coming from the Hague. Thanks for the guests, Mr. Asos. It's been like 9 years he was not here in Kurdistan. After 9 years, for the first time he came. Thanks for coming. Ms. Liza, for the first time you came from Jordan all the way to Kurdistan and Arbeid. Thanks for coming. Thanks for the audience, all of you. Well, actually, to our entrepreneurs, first thing that they should keep in their mind, they should start small. They don't have to make something very big, and they don't have to look for the perfection at first. They should start small with a small project. And after that, they have to have braveness. This braveness will give them a lot of opportunity. No one knows that what will happen if we do something in a brave way. So we should not be afraid of sharing our ideas. If you keep our idea, if you say we cannot share it with anyone, they will steal from us, they will take it away from us. This is also very bad. So we should be brave enough to share our idea and to work on it. And the third thing is to find an investor. Looking a way to find an investor and to invest in your own projects. That's three keys. They are very strong for the entrepreneurs before they start any project.
So a follow-up question would be, how can tech entrepreneur utilize these technologies, these new technologies, to drive innovation and growth?
Well, as I said, the first thing is to not be afraid of sharing this idea to the others. Before a while, I have had a friend. He came to me and he said, "I have an idea and I want to share. I don't want to share it with you, but I want you to reach me to someone else." So the ideas are not secret. Just share it and don't be afraid of it. So slowly you will be like finding some people that will help you, some platforms that will help you, and you should be attending to this kind of platforms and to work on this idea, and slowly something will come to you, and you never know that after a month or 6 months or 1 year, what's coming to you. Like suddenly something came to you and you will be shocked, and you'll get a fund from an investor or from a platform or from an account, from an NGO, and you'll be starting your project right away.
So yeah, as you mentioned, you have to be brave enough and be ready for whenever the idea comes, start execution of the idea. Okay, so moving on to the role of the government support in fostering entrepreneurship, I would like to direct my next question to Ms. Liza. As the Acting Director of Investment and Entrepreneurship at the Ministry of Digital Economy and Entrepreneurship in Jordan, my question is to you that could you share some example of these initiatives and their impact, like the initiatives and the impact that you have? Furthermore, how do you see the ministry's role for providing support for aspiring tech entrepreneur in the country?
Thank you. Thank you again. Again, I would like to thank Kurdistan government. I would like to thank HITEX organizers, Mr. Farhang. Thank you so much for your invitation. And thank you for allowing us to be part of this organization and to be able to tell our story. So I would like to start by giving a glimpse about our ICT and entrepreneurship ecosystem and sectors in Jordan. Today in Jordan, we have almost 3,000 ICT and ICT-related companies. They're employing around 45,000 direct employers, and we have almost 100,000 indirect employment within this sector. We have managed to, in Jordan, it's the ICT sector, it's a fast-growing and an innovative sector. It has managed to attract the global powerhouses such as Microsoft, Amazon, Expedia, and many more. Also, early on back into 1988, by having the first technical fund, the entrepreneurship ecosystem started. And today, at the WEF, at the World Economic Forum, out of 100 entrepreneurs winners, 27% of them are Jordanians. So this has been recognized by the government, and that's why we have been transformed into, from the Ministry of Technology and Communication, now we are the Ministry of Digital Economy and Entrepreneurship. Today we are focusing on having and enabling strategies, enabling policies, initiatives and projects that really empowers the ICT ecosystem and the entrepreneurship. For example, we have the Digital Transformation Action Plan and Strategy. We have the AI also strategy and action plan. And recently we have launched the Entrepreneurship Policy and Action Plan. And we have a very specific project, a huge project called the Youth Technology and Jobs, which is a 200 million budget project, which really supports the ICT sector and the entrepreneurial sector by supporting the supply and the demand for these two sectors. So this is a glimpse about what we are doing as a government in Jordan.
Thank you so much for your valuable insights. Now returning to Mr. Assos, let's discuss entrepreneurship and investment. So could you elaborate on some of the common challenges that young entrepreneurs face when it comes to establishing a business, like, starting on having an idea and then turning this idea into reality, and then based on the, let's say, business idea that they have, how can they secure investment for this business idea that they have? So if you could share with us or tell us more about the challenges that they face throughout this process, and what are some of the advices that you give them so that they can overcome those challenges that they may face?
One of the big challenges I see and I hear is that a mentality of victimhood, right? Expectation that somebody else will do something for you, meaning the government, meaning somebody that you expect somebody to help you. But I think the choice to become an entrepreneur is a choice that you take full responsibility. So I think that's where it exactly starts. So you got to make a choice. Or you're going to make excuses, or you're going to make results. Or you're going to be a victim, or you're going to be a professional problem solver. Because being an entrepreneur means every day you got to solve a new problem. And you accept that type of lifestyle, right? So the focus on finding a problem that you're going to solve and helping other people with that problem that you're solving eventually would lead to financial gains, right? But the financial part is the last step in that whole process. And a lot of times, aspiring entrepreneurs, also because of YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, they focus on the glitter and glamour of entrepreneurship. But the glitter and glamour of entrepreneurship comes at the end of the whole process. And so because first you get ridiculed, first you're going to feel insecure, first you got to take risks, first you got to burn your ships. There's a lot of things you got to go through before you even reach that destination. So I think first it starts with a very, very realistic image of what you're trying to pursue. It starts with taking full responsibility and not being a victim. It starts with really accepting the fact, I'm going to be a professional problem solver, I'm going to be a leader. And after that process, like Mr. Farhang said beautifully, start small. Like a lot of times people are talking about, yeah, I want to expand into this market. And I'm like, if you don't dominate your garak, your own neighborhood, you don't dominate your own city, if you don't dominate your own country, what business do you have going into another country, right? How do you dare even thinking about expanding to a different country? It's good to have dreams and ideals, but once you start and you have an idea, you've chosen to be a leader and a professional problem solver, now you got to have a roadmap. And you got to have short sprints with short milestones that you got to check off, basically. So then you got to build a team around you, as I said earlier, and people want to be part of something greater than themselves, right? So people want to be part of writing history. And I think one of the challenges we have in this market is maybe everybody wants to be that leader because they think it's only significant to be the leader, it's not significant to be part of the team. But that's not correct. I think the number 2, 3, 4, 5, even the number 38 of Google or Facebook or Twitter, these became multimillionaires, and they took it with a lot of honor to be part of that team. And in our mentality, a lot of times we think about we need to be that person at the forefront. No, I'd rather have all of us work together and contribute in an idea of Fatima or Lisa or Farhan, and it's an orchestra, right? So everybody's important. Even the triangle is important. Every instrument is important. So I think one of the challenges is that, but it also brings an opportunity. Because if you decide that you're going to be that leader, you're going to be vocal about your vision, you're going to communicate something that people feel excited about being part of. And it's not about having all the answers. It's about having the right intention, right? And it's about being and realizing that the people you work with don't work for you, because people don't work for people. People work for great ideas. And if you can be a servant and align their interest with your interest, great things can happen. So then after building a team, I would really start about having an MVP and a proof of concept locally, small. Like Farhan said, small steps to success. It's always small, simple steps. The fastest way to get to big success is slow, to be honest, if you want to build something sustainable. And then it's, for the credibility of your idea, companies, it's good to build a board of advisory. And find qualified people with seniority who have a lot of years of experience in your specific field, and make them part of your process. Show them your plans. Accept accountability from them. Be vulnerable for their advice. And every 30 days or 90 days, show them your process. Show them the fact that you reach some milestones. And what will happen is, once people go to your website or an investor eventually will come on board, they will say, okay, show me your proof of concept. Okay, show me your team. And then if you can present a very heavy, experienced board of advisory, they'll be impressed because they know you will navigate your business through their guidance, right? And I think there's a lot of people who underestimate how willing, experienced, and successful people are. Because what I experienced in my life is successful people want to help other people. But like a lot of times when new entrepreneur starts, they think help is giving you money. No, help is not giving you money. Help is also giving you advice. So being vulnerable for that advice, and then eventually, when there's an opportunity, and I strongly say it because I get approached for investments a lot. And a lot of times people are asking for investments far too soon in the process. I really believe it should be really necessary for you to invest if you want to scale up, you want to take a big market share, that is interesting. But don't ask for investments too soon. And if you do, follow the right path to get there.
Yeah, so a good moment or like milestone for a tech entrepreneur to seek investment is that they have to wait for long enough so that they can be ready, and then after that seek, fund or
exactly.
like.
Yeah. Because what I saw a couple of times, a couple of my friends asked for investment too soon, and at the end, a company bought them, but they ended up with too small of an equity, so they did all of the work to end up with a relatively small share. You got to really bootstrap. You got to burn your ships. It's a great story. What I heard about how Farhan, with his whole team, started HITEX, and his vision, like it's bootstrapping, it's taking risk, is burning the ships, but there's no certainty. Like you cannot go for opportunity and freedom in life, and at the same time go for certainty. You got to choose one of the two. And when you're young, it's perfect because you got nothing to lose. In the worst case, you got to live with your parents. It could be worse, right? And I also want to take the opportunity to thank Farhan, thank the whole team, thank you, Fatima. It's a real honor, it's a real pleasure. Barasi shana ziyakam. I'm gonna say it in Kurdish. Barasi shana ziyakam bam eventa chunka. Zor khalq esta HITEX abeb uku branding Kurdi. And he's all professional. And he afrin bo organizationi HITEX ul kak farang wa hamuti maka. Sorry, Lisa. I just said I'm really impressed by HITEX and about the way the brand is now associated to Kurdistan, and it's a really good way of displaying Kurdistan.
Since we are in this topic, I just want to ask you another follow-up question, Mr. Asas. So do you think that the steps that an entrepreneur can follow for, let's say, starting a business in a local community or like in their own local communities are the same exact steps that they can also follow when they want to go international and, to be an international company? Do you think that they're the same?
It's a good question, Fatima. Well, I think there's not one size fits all, but I want to stretch out that having a successful local or national business is a big challenge, right? But once you go international, like the competition is even bigger, because like football is 90 minutes of competition, right? Business is 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So it's war. It's a business war because people have while I'm having a great idea, somebody else is having a great idea, and in 2023. The great idea doesn't count anymore. It's about great operations, people who can execute a great idea. And I think that once you go international, the threat of losing everything even becomes bigger. A lot of companies collapse because they want to grow too fast. So I believe you should have a very strong foundation. In your local market, you should dominate, and then you should have a separate strategy for globalization. I believe in work local, think global, but long term. Like I started in the Netherlands with my sales company in 2003. For the first 9 years, we didn't expand internationally. After 9 years, we started expanding, and then the expansion went very fast. But because we had a track record, we had a blueprint, we had enough data, so it was able for us to scale very fast.
Okay, so the young entrepreneur, when they first start, they have to find a niche, their own niche, and then after that, they can, let's say, upgrade and become international, in the long run. So
yes.
Step by step.
But because your systems and your processes within your business must be ready for that next phase. And the reality is that a lot of markets don't have that. And also when you start marketing in a different market, you're selling in a different market, offering your service different market, like you got to figure out marketing all over again, right? So let's say I have a product for the Kurdish market. I figure out all the personality types. I figure out TikTok, Instagram, Meta. So now I can run ads. I can scale them up. But now if I go to a new market like Jordan, I got to figure everything out again because it's a new demography, right? So I would really focus on building strong locally, supporting each other locally, and then expand globally.
Thank you so much for your insight. Now I would like to ask Ms. Lisa about some of the challenges or common challenges that entrepreneurs face when it comes to securing investment, and what are some of the practical advice that you would like to give entrepreneur when it comes to seeking investment?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you again for this question. And again, I totally agree with my colleague here, Mr. Azaz. It's all about the ideation phase of the project, and you should always make sure that your idea is it's clear in a way and has all the right elements of that. Being feasible, having a clear and a clear value proposition for your idea, having a feasibility study, know your market, and know your potential, and know your skills, what you are passionate for, so that you can attract investors. Sometimes the investors are attracted to the skills and the passion of the entrepreneur, not the idea itself, because ideas can be always modified and enhanced. And again, yes, you should think also locally. You should act locally, actually, and you should think globally. Always have it in mind, have it envisioned, so that you can really grow and expand.
Yeah, so it's not the idea itself, it's the execution that matters. It's the common thing that we found in both Mr. Assis and Ms. Liza's answering this question. So after that, I want to forward my next question to Mr. Farhang. In the context of innovation and entrepreneurship in Iraq, what is the main challenge that young tech entrepreneur face and encounter here in Iraq, let's say? And could you provide like some insight on how they can overcome those challenges that they face?
We may have some like differences between the countries. When a challenge comes to an entrepreneur in Jordan, it's different than in the UAE or in the Netherlands or in Europe or USA. So mainly, as my journey starts back in 2015, we faced on some issues, like the challenges were lack of skills. That was one of the challenges, and lack of access to experts. That's also, it was a challenge for us. And also when we start a project, when you have your own startup, lack of clients, you don't have a project to work on it. So if you come to the lack of skills, let's not just mention the challenge itself, how to solve it. So the entrepreneurs, as Kakasos mentioned, they are in a war. It's a battle 24/7, 7 days a week, like that. You don't have to rest. You have to continuously work on your own project, and you have to find the skills around this region that you are in. So you have to attend a lot of seminars, workshops, conferences like HITEX. You have to go to the other countries. You have to get skills from outside. Sometimes it's not about all the local skills. Sometimes you cannot find this skill in a local startup, and this will face the local startup to fail. This is about the lack of skills. About the access to experts, of course, technology is new. It's let's say in Iraq, the last 15 years or 20 years, we have access to internet. So it's not something that you can easily manage it. It's something new. It's new. For the world, it's new. For us, it's more new. So we have many experts, but these experts are not over there for you. You have to look for them, and you have to find them in the universities, in the academic sector, in the private sector. Maybe there are. I know myself. I have many friends that they are experts in their own sector, and I could not have access for them unless we have done HITEX and we met them and we find them, and now they are supporting a lot of startups. So to find an expert in your own sector, it's really good. And for the lack of clients, I myself struggled to find clients a lot. We have tried a lot to find clients back in 2015. But the issue sometimes is not only with the environment. We usually blame government. We say the government didn't do this for us, they didn't do that for us. But sometimes it's not all about the government. Sometimes the environment itself, it's not ready for you. So the job of government is more to make the environment for you, to make this environment that you can do your own business in it. You can open a new startup and you can do your own business. But the issue is we don't use our connections in the right way. So if we really use our connections in the right way, we can easily find some clients and we can keep working on that. Despite of that, we don't have. Sometimes we are trying our best to make something really good wow in technicality. But the thing is, this cannot solve an issue for multiple people. I myself have done a lot of platforms. Like we have done an inventory, we have done a accounting system, we have done a lot of projects, and then we came out that this platform, this solution has only 50 potential clients. So with 50 potential clients, you cannot do anything. So sometimes the issue is with our own idea. What this platform does, what this let's say solution services the clients. So these two issues sometimes we mix it, and we cannot we came out that our product is not working or our startup is not working, and we come with a lot of blaming from the government, academic sector, all of them. No, the issue is at first from our own start. Why did we start this? Why we are, for example, why I am doing a platform in Aqarat real estate services? Why I'm doing that? How many potential customers will I get if I have a fully platform? Also, like the competitors, if I, for example, Talabat Iraq, they entered Iraq with 6 months and they controlled the market. So there is also a job of government to control this. Like we have had Lizzo, they were local, and then Talabat jumped in, and within 6 months they spent a lot of money and they controlled the market. So this is also another issue. We should, like government, they have to make some regulations, like UAE. We have a good example of UAE. They have done. There was Karim. Karim was a local platform for riding, and then when Talabat came into the UAE, not Talabat, the Uber came to the UAE. They forced Uber to buy Karim and to use the Karim name and the branding, everything. And now Karim is in Kurdistan, in Iraq, not even in the UAE. So the regulations should, they are really matter. Sometimes the government should force Talabat to buy Lizzo, so Lizzo, the local product, will not stop or will not struggle to maintain in the market. This is also another issue that we have it.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, there are a couple of challenges that now that all of the panelists have tackled on, and one of which is that having this victim mentality where we are blame all the other ones on the problems that we have, and the other one is like not having the right ecosystem for us to grow and foster. So those are all the problems. What I want to do is like later on, I want to return to this question again and tackle the issue of not being able to find the expert in the fields and investors, and we want to discuss this issue further. But before this, I want to move on to my next question, which is I want to address like the opportunities and the advantages that we have for tech entrepreneur in Iraq. So, Mr. Assos, in the context of Iraq, which is a rich local resources and which is like rich in local resources and expertise, how do you believe tech entrepreneur can best leverage these resources and assets to develop the groundbreaking ideas?
Yeah, so in every market and every industry, you can be focus on the primary resources or commodities to build a business, but a lot of times we forget there's a whole supply chain around that core initial business process, right? So the philosophy is, how can I add value to an existing business that's already running, to an existing business case that's already working, where a lot of time and effort is going in? But that's one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is also that, like, and it is an example about the local market here in Iraq, okay? So there's a story, I don't know if it's true, okay? But there's a story, two men go to Africa, and they both make shoes and sell shoes, okay? So one comes back and says, يعني no market, because nobody wears shoes, right? The other one comes back and says, big market, nobody wears shoes. What's my point? My point is that I think nothing, it's not perfect here, but the reality is nowhere is perfect. It's relatively easy to start a business here, get it up and running. A lot of places, there's a lot of bureaucracy. So my personal advice would be, if I would focus on an existing industry, let's say the oil and gas business, okay? I would look for a way. I don't need to be the person who's going to sell the oil to make money in the oil industry. There's a lot of business around it in the supply chain. I could look for a way to add value. But the most important thing is, and that's also something that I wanted to add on the last conversation, instead of falling in love with your product, you should fall in love with your customer. Because you're not serving your product, you're serving your customer. So your thought process must be, how can I add value to my customer? Because if you add enough value, customers will come running to you. And you will get compensated pretty well as well. But before you're going to go do that, you got to take a different direction. So it's about studying your market, like taking the time to make an investigation with all the different customers that could potentially be part of your customer base. Like, one of the things that we always do is we do a quantitative research and qualitative research. Basically, it comes down to talking to a lot of people. And nowadays, there are so many tools. Like, I remember I had to pay for software to do this. Now you got like Google Form for free. You can do a market research. But like, if you want to conquer the world and become an entrepreneur, but you don't take the time to really to validate your business plan, your business case, like, poor preparation leads to poor performance, but proper preparation leads to proper performance. So I think, like, if you prepare in market research and validating your business case and having people from different perspectives also giving their opinion about your business, is going to be a huge difference maker. So approximately 5 years ago, I diversified into different businesses. We started with real estate, and then we went into healthcare real estate. But residential real estate, so we got one brand for residential, then we student real estate, and then we started with the healthcare real estate. It's all real estate, but three totally different categories, right? So what I said earlier about building a board, for each different company, we built a different board. And in each board, we had people who have experience in that specific industry, because we need people from that industry to give us input. So it takes time in the beginning to set up this process, but this process will help you navigate and make much better decisions. Because a lot of times as an entrepreneur, we get caught in our own heads because we fall in love with our product. But we should not fall in love with our product. We should fall in love with our customer.
Okay, thank you for your insights. Now, one of the challenges that Mr. Farhang have mentioned is that not having an ecosystem where our entrepreneur can grow. So in the context of utilizing country resources, I would like to ask Ms. Lisa, how can Iraq benefit from Jordan's experience in providing policies and programs that foster and enable environment for tech entrepreneur? What insight can you share regarding the role of the government in Jordan and how Iraq can leverage its own resources to create a conducive ecosystem for nurturing groundbreaking ideas?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your question. When actually, first thing is that you need to have a holistic plan to look at supporting the whole elements of the ecosystem. For example, what we have done is that we have, as I mentioned before, we have the entrepreneurship policy and implementation plan, whereby we focus on the different pillars of the ecosystem, whether it is access to market, whether it is access to capital and finance, access to the talents, and access to the culture and the training, and legislations, as you mentioned, legislations and regulations that really helps the entrepreneurs and foster their their businesses. So in our entrepreneurship policy and action plan, what's beautiful about it, we did it in cooperation of the World Bank, and we had the two sides looked on in the formulation of the policy, whereby we looked at the best practices, international best practices in terms of innovation and entrepreneurship policies. And again, we looked at the startup voice by conducting a survey of 200 startups, asking them about their challenges in each and every pillar of the ecosystem. So out of that, we have now almost 22 projects, which serves and caters for the needs and the challenges of the startups themselves. So, for example, to mention that to solve the ideation problem and challenge, and having a quality ideas from the entrepreneurs, we have one of the projects that we are very much keen about is the leapfrogging project. It focuses on having an entrepreneurial quality ideas so that they can be investable. And after that, we have another project that supports the investment of these ideas and entrepreneurs. So again, it's all about looking at the whole ecosystem and connecting the ecosystem all together, and look at the entrepreneur's journey, starting from the idea into acceleration.
Thank you so much for your valuable insights. Now let's discuss the utilization of emerging technology. Continuous learning and staying up to date on emerging technology are crucial for a tech entrepreneur. What advice do you have for them to secure and stay informed and foster a culture of continuous learning and innovation within their organization? Are there any specific steps that they can take in order to stay updated on the latest information that there are and on the latest technologies?
So you mean the advices for the youth, for the entrepreneurs to stay up to date?
Yeah, how to stay updated on the latest technologies that there are, let's say, available. How can an entrepreneur stay updated?
So being an entrepreneur, a tech entrepreneur, is much more difficult than being a normal entrepreneur or other sectors. The starting with a project and trying to start with this project and to postponing it, it will kill the project. So just start easy, be calm, and start your own project. At the end, if you don't do this project, if you have an idea and if you don't do it, someone else will do it, and you'll regret when you see that guy is doing the same project as it was planned that you will be doing it. Second thing is, as we mentioned, we said don't start with a perfect way. Like do not look for the perfection. Don't start with a big project. Just start with a small project. Slowly work on it and make it bigger and bigger, and try to always do studies, like enter the conferences, enter the seminars, just to stay up to date to that projects. And it's really hard to stay up to date to a tech project. Every day, like before ChatGPT started and Google started their own platform, and they said we are late in only 2 months after ChatGPT. Why? Because before 5 years was normal. You are not late if you start doing the same thing. Now 2 months, you say a big company like Google, they say we are really late than ChatGPT for that tool. So like tech entrepreneurship, tech products, tech projects, you should. It's really hard to be up to date always. So you should, if you enter to be a tech entrepreneur, you should be continuously reading. You should be continuously reading articles about your services, latest technology, latest products. You should have a connection with the private sector companies in your own sector. You should have connections with the academic sector that they have it, and what you have learned it from the master degrees, bachelor degrees, academic sector. You should bring it and apply it on the reality, which is really different. When we read articles, we study master degrees, we study bachelor degrees, PhD degrees. This is something when it comes to applying, executing this research, this study on reality, it's something really different.
Thank you so much for your insights. Now, I want to make this panel discussion more interactive, and I want to ask you a question. As I don't know if there are entrepreneurs among the audience, but if there are any entrepreneur among the audience, could you please raise your hand so that we can see how many entrepreneurs do we have in our audience? Okay. So one of the challenges that we mentioned is that lack of access to experts in the field. Many times you will have a problem, which is you will have some problem with your financial statements. And what happens is that you cannot find anyone who is expert in this field, in the field of finance. And your problem could not be only in the field of finance, but it could be in the field, let's say, in marketing or in other different areas. So how can we, let's say, how can an entrepreneur have access to expert in the fields? And then if someone have a great idea and want to, let's say, start on making this idea a reality and want to seek investments so that they can make this idea a reality, how can they make sure that they can go to the right place where they can find someone who can believe in their vision that they have for the future and invest in their idea? So my question is that, do you think that here in Kurdistan, in Iraq, we have such a platform for connecting experts with experts and investors with the entrepreneurs, or do you think that we do not have? So that lady over there, do you think that this is a problem? Do we have a mic?
Bella. Yes. Hi. Hi. My name is Jane. I'm a founder, and I'm.
Can you?
Yes. So I have an education website. I'm in the Rwanda's. Invest.
I can't hear you.
I joined it. Invest. I joined it. Invest my idea from Rwanda. So I have a startup. So I started my business. Yes, there isn't like that. Yes, there isn't any place to you in the international countries they have angel investment. So we don't have it here.
So you think that we have such a problem here in our country, in Kurdistan, where we have lack of access to, let's say, to the experts or to the investors.
We don't have a special place. So
where we can go to when we have a great idea.
Yeah. So we should apply to organizations to share our ideas about our projects. So then maybe we can take some investors.
Okay. So I want now to ask the panelists this question: how do you envision establishing a platform that connect entrepreneurs with the advisor and investors that could address some of the challenges entrepreneurs face? So we've addressed a lot of challenges that entrepreneurs face, one of which was that lack of access to expert in the fields. So what benefits and opportunities do you believe such a platform could bring the entrepreneurial ecosystem in terms of fostering collaboration, knowledge exchange, and access to funding? I would like to start with Mr. Asos.
Yeah, so I think in general, the top. I think the people who are really wanting to find the answers will find the answers. The people who need to find the funding will find the funding, and that's the top 1-2%. But I think that there's a bigger part of the market that we could help if there would be a platform, right? And I think for the quality of such a platform, what you need is validated experts with a proven track record who really know what they're talking about and have user cases from the past. And then if people go through some kind of incubator process, then they can go for seed capital, and we could also have a program for scale-ups, probably. I think it's very interesting to consider something like this. And if it's not available, I would really consider of building something myself, because I think it's a great initiative. It's a great idea. Sorry, yes?
So this event, HITEX, maybe give us a chance to find some investors here, but there isn't any special place to go with and ask for investors. So, but these events and some organizations, they were helpful to find investors. I don't say there is no place. So this event is very good for us, but I say like a special place.
And
So
Special place.
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And I think I understand you correctly, and you're very right, right? Because this is a great place to network. I've met a lot of projects that I'm going to follow up on as well, because I could really consider a few of them potential to be investing in. But what you mentioned is something separate from this platform, right? Yes, sure. I think there are many opportunities. And I think also from Ms. Lisa, you spoke about a couple of the things that you guys have put in place. And I think it's on us as entrepreneurs to build something like that, right? I think because one of the things in Jordan, what you told me, is that in Jordan, many people from Jordan were having a senior position, executive C-suite position in the tech companies, right? So based upon this experience and what they did in the field, it kicked back to Jordan that, hey, we got this knowledge in house, we got this good brain. Let's put it into practice for the country, right? And I think that's also what we should do. Like us entrepreneurs, we should all work together and find a way how we can facilitate this from the private sector. Why? Because like my experience personally is in the private sector, things go much faster and it's much easier. It's less bureaucracy if you go from the private sector. And there's also a major win. But first we got to identify who are all the stakeholders for this. So potentially it's the young entrepreneurs, the startups, right? It's the scale-ups, it's the investors, it's the universities maybe. And I think there are a lot of things that we could do. And I'm really excited about this idea. So yeah, I'm excited about this idea.
Yeah, so what insight do you have on this, Miss Lisa? Because you mentioned that you, in Jordan, for example, you have a platform called the Jumping Pro, I think.
Start
Yeah.
Joe.
Yes, yeah. So could you elaborate more on this, and how could having such a platform here in Kurdistan will help the entrepreneur to have access to these experts and investors so that they can, reach their potential and, go stronger to the market?
Yes. Actually, it was created according to this need. When we saw the need that we need to have one unified platform that joins the entrepreneurs and the investors and all the ecosystem that I told you about. Yani, you can have the incubators, you can have the accelerators, you can have the training facilities for the entrepreneurship in one place. So I believe it's a necessity that we realized later on. And before that, we actually have an entrepreneurship ecosystem map done by a company called TTI, Time to Innovate. It's a Jordanian company. So what they have, you can see it, search it on the internet. It has all the ecosystem, all the stakeholders, and each and every supporting service they give. You have incubators, accelerators, funding, co-funding, angel investors. It's all mentioned in that map, but the platform is much better in doing the right connection and having this, let's say, interactive, to make it more interactive and to make it more efficient. A platform is a necessity. And you can start by doing an association or a club of the entrepreneurs that you can, by that, collect their needs. What's their needs? What's their potential? What's their feedback? And to build on that.
Thank you so much. Mr. Farhan, what do you think of what just Mr. Asus and Ms. Lisa have talked about having such platform, and how can, like, say, entrepreneur benefit from having such platforms?
Well, when we start to have a project, you should have you will face lack of skills, as we explained, and this platform will be a great thing to help the entrepreneurs to find the experts, and also it will be useful if we add the investing part to the platform, so we can find investors inside this platform, not only experts. Sometimes the skill will not give you anything if you cannot find an investor.
True.
So the platform is clear, and I guess we can go with a decision from on the stage, and we can go ahead. We can, like HITEX can be the hub. We will do all networking. We will have all the any connections we have, like with Invest My Idea projects, with the academic sector like AUK, all of them, with the private sector. We can give all data to that platform. And I guess you, like Lelaf company, you can go with the technicality, and you can...
We can build the platform
Exactly.
in terms of the, the technicality aspect of it. And
Yeah.
for example, you can contribute in having, let's say, bringing the network, or bringing the experts, and all of us together. Maybe we can build something that is necessity, as Ms. Lisa mentioned, here in Kurdistan. And with Mr. As's support for also like bringing expert to this platform, will add a huge value to it.
So you can do the platform, and I will prepare all the content or connections for you. And Mr. Asos can fund you. That's it. The platform is ready.
Yeah,
Let's
so
do it.
yeah,
Right
so
away.
this is an action plan that we will take out of this panel discussion, and hopefully you can see something that soon about this platform, which is basically, as you mentioned, we want really to connect entrepreneur with investor and with expert. So we will try to do our best, and we will collaborate
Grazie.
in making this to become a reality and to achieve it, actually.
Grazie.
It's a great takeaway.
Good luck with it.
So I just want to we want to go through like what we have discussed already. So first of all, we've talked about our panelists' experience on being, let's say, the entrepreneurs, and what were some of the steps that they followed in order to become like more successful. And basically, they also tackled on some of the challenges that entrepreneurs tend to face, and they also gave us some advices on how they can overcome those challenges. After that, we went on explaining a bit how our youth, our entrepreneur can, get benefit of the resources available in our country and to build some great ideas. And after that, we come up with the idea of this platform on the stage, and we are hopeful that you all can engage so that we can make this something real. And thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for being here. Now, I would like to ask our panelists, if you don't have any further, comments or anything else to add, I would want to move to a Q&A session. So if there's anything you want to add, please feel free to.
To the previous topic? General?
Yes, do you have any thoughts or like...
I think what's important to know is that a lot of times, like, my parents wanted me, my parents I have traditional Kurdish parents. They said, you can be anything you want in the world as long as a doctor, engineer, or lawyer, right? I'm not sure many other Kurdish children growing up, or Arab children growing up, they have this from their parents, right? So I ended up not being a lawyer, not being an engineer, not being a doctor, nothing of that. And I really had high expectations, and I really think that if we go back into history and our heritage, like, we have a lot of human capital, but sometimes we are afraid to make a mistake. Like, I want to tell you one thing up front is that you make so many mistakes but that's not a failure, but because either you earn or you learn, but it's not a failure. And I think an entrepreneur only needs to be right one time, right? You can make many mistakes, everything can go wrong, but just one business needs to succeed, and everybody will know you for that one business that succeeded. And for me, for the first 7 years when I built my business, everybody was doubting my choice to start my business. Everybody saw me reinvesting all my money in my business. So they were like, you have a business for 6 years, you don't drive a big car. I was like, no, I'm investing all in my business. And this is something at a certain moment I accepted this as part of my process. And I accepted the fact that I made a decision, or I'm going to be on top of the mountain, planting my flag, saying I succeeded, or you will find me dead on the way up. But it's not going to be anything in the middle. And once I made that decision, and I didn't care anymore about people telling me why didn't you finish your school? Is it a good thing you started this business? You don't have a car. So at one moment, it didn't matter anymore. And it didn't matter anymore because I made a decision to make it happen, right? To be consistent, like Mr. Farang said. And I really believe that once you allow yourself to make mistakes, experience is going to be your biggest teacher. I agree, going to workshops is important, reading books is important, going to events is important, asking for advice is important, but the most important thing is experience. And you only get experience by doing. So don't be afraid of doing, and don't think you need to know all the steps. So step A to step Z. You just need to know step A to step B. And then you find a way from step B to step C, and then from step C to step D. Sometimes you make huge steps forward. Sometimes you will make very small steps forward. The most important thing is that at the end of the day, you put your head on the pillow, you just come to the realization you did everything you could. And I really believe if you really do what you can, things will eventually always work out. Because once you look back, you will understand that all of those challenges and problems along the way were necessary for you. Because it's a personal development process. And in that process, you will learn yourself. You will learn your weaknesses. You will learn your good traits, bad traits. You will learn what to work on. And it's really something I commend. That's why I love entrepreneurship. But that's why I want to stimulate entrepreneurship, is because I believe entrepreneurship is very important for a flourishing community, a flourishing region, flourishing country. And anything we can do to help that, I'm here to help. So
Thank you so much. Miss Lisa, would you like to add anything that you feel like we haven't covered during our panel briefly?
Thank you. I believe we covered everything, and we have the same ideas. But again, maybe one advice for the entrepreneurs is that they should always do their homework. Knowing your networks, knowing your all the ecosystem stakeholders out, and how he can benefit or she can benefit from this ecosystem around them.
Thank you so much. Mr. Farhang, is there anything you want to add?
We explained about the consistency, for the entrepreneurs, all of them. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes you don't have to continue your project. You just have to kill it and you start a new one. It doesn't mean that we have to keep stuck with an idea that doesn't work in the region. So only that, the rest is all covered.
Thank you so much for your valuable insights. Now we would like to move to, we want to have our audience. I don't know if we have a mic over there, but we will move to our Q&A session. So if anyone of the audience have a question to ask our panelists, we would be glad to answer any questions you have. So any questions for our panelists? Is there anything you want to know further that was not made clear during the panel? So I see, do you have a question? Okay. So it seems that none of our audience have questions for our panelists. So I would just like to wrap up and close the panel discussion. And thank you so much for joining us today. It was.
Can I add something with
Yes.
Fatima?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what's very important for the entrepreneur, just in life in general, is that everybody, like, so everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. But it doesn't work that way, right? So it's important that, like, whatever you're going to do, working for yourself, working for a company, I think in the ecosystem of a nation, every role is important. I have children, I have 4 children, my 5th is on the way. It doesn't matter what my children become. I just want them to be their best potential. If everybody understand what I mean, right? So, as a joke, I'm gonna say, gotta be a doctor, an engineer, or lawyer. No, but what I'm trying to say is that it doesn't matter which role you want to play in society, but it's important that we take responsibility for our society. And it's not easy, but nowhere is easy, because great results don't come for easy roads. So it's important that we take our own responsibility, how we can take it. So don't look at other people, don't look at the government, don't look at the politics. Just look at you. What could you do to improve and to contribute and add value? And if everybody does their part, together we can make something really beautiful.
Thank you so much. Since none of the audience have any questions for our panelists, then we would like to close this panel discussion. Thank you so much for all of you for being here. We really appreciate your attendance, and thank you to the panelists for being here and sharing their valuable insight with us. Thank you so much.